Alright, ignore my hair, but today I forgot what it's called. We're doing the oil filter gaskets and like the heat management unit on this BMW 440i. I think it's 2022. The process is the same with the, I think 2022 to 2024. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna cut that out. All right, so with the engine cover off, the tools you're gonna need are external torques. These things here. You're gonna need a set of these in different sizes, internal torques in different sizes, and a socket set, maybe a pry bar, maybe, some hooks for the hoses, and some tiny flatheads for some of the connectors. Make it a little easier, but you might not need those. All right, first thing we're gonna do is drain the oil and the coolant. I know how to drain the oil. I'll get back when I Google how to drain the coolant. All right, so you wanna go ahead and disconnect the battery, negative terminal, positive terminal too. I put a rag there just so it doesn't come in contact with it. And pull this up over the latch just so the trunk doesn't get closed. Caps off the expansion tanks here and here. Just set them on top for now. And then next, there's a auxiliary battery. There's a battery here. I'm gonna disconnect the terminal off of there. Pull this air box out. There's a connector here, alligator clip here. Just let that hang up there. Okay, so this battery disconnected. Had that tucked back there. It's a 10 mil. You set this plastic to the side. All right, so with that bar, whatever that bar is, removed, this side of the airbox removed, there is we're gonna pull this in part of the intake off of the turbo. Now if you look down here, let me turn the flash. If you look down there, you see this is where it connects. Don't get these two confused. You can see a retainer clip here. It's a better angle. See the retainer clip there? You're just gonna put that up. Or just up and loose if you're on one side and the other side. All right. Don't lose this clip. They probably charge ass in a leg to get a new one. So, all right, now this should just come straight out. Yeah. Okay, so you can see it's disconnected from the turbo. And I'm gonna disconnect this line here. This line here. I'm gonna squeeze the sides and pull it off. Hopefully it doesn't break. Yeah, so you can carefully move that to the side to get a better view at this line here. It's the one you wanna disconnect. It might come to disconnect all of these, but for now, just this one. Squeeze the sides. So I got that disconnected from there. This up and just move it out the way. Okay, so you're gonna want to disconnect all these electrical connectors. That one from there on the intake, this one from the turbo. Just get a flat head, put it here where my nail is, and lift it up about that high, and squeeze it, and it comes out. And then just tuck those somewhere. All right, with the air box removed, you have the charge pipe here. Charge pipe goes to the throttle body. We're gonna take that off at the throttle body up here with these 4 screws. And same thing down here, retainer clip, and that'll slide off. All right, now don't get these two mixed up. These are different retainer clips. The one in the intake is a little thinner. The one that goes to the charge pipe is a bit thicker. But now with that off, this will slide off. And then we can take these off, disconnect these connectors. Same deal, these connectors is flathead. Just pop them up like that. And then go in and squeeze and pull. All right, for those 4 bolts, I'm gonna use a T30. And it's three T30s, not 4, just 3. 2 up top and 1 on the bottom. All right, with the charge pipe off, this is what this will look like. And that's gonna stay there. And the charge pipe off, a little bit of oil dripped out of the charge pipe when I removed it. Maybe a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon. But I don't think it's that big of an issue. ChatGPT said it's normal. All right, so to drain the coolant, we're gonna go down there from underneath. There is a few of these missing, but it's a bunch of 8mm screws for this skid plate. We're gonna pull this off, and then right about here will be the line we're gonna pull to drain the coolant. So right here, let me see, from the front of the car, underneath here, got the skid plate taken off. Move this out the way. This is the pipe we're gonna be disconnecting. And I'm gonna be disconnecting it from right here. Okay, so there's a clip. There's a retainer clip. You can kind of see. Let's see. Right. There's a lip of it right there. Since doing the heat management module, right? That's what I'm replacing. I'm actually not going to drain the coolant from this hose. I'll put the clip back on, and I'm going to drain the coolant like as I take off the hoses from the heat management module up top. It'll be messier, but I don't want to fool around with this hose and end up snapping the plastic fitting. So I'm gonna put this retainer clip back on and do it from the top. All right, so I forgot to record it, but this is the, I guess, ECU. It slides inside this bracket here and it sits in there like that. To pull it out, you disconnect these connectors and these tabs right here, you just pull them apart. I mean, not apart, you pull these tabs, you pull away from the ECU and it'll slide right up. If you want to use one hand to hold these and then use your fingers to push those tabs, and then use your other hand to go underneath here and just push it up through the slot. That's what I did, and it was pretty easy. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and disconnect these cables and then the red power cable back here, and then get this whole thing out the way. All right, same deal as the ECU with this. This sits here. There's 2 tabs on opposite ends. It's right underneath that one, and then right where that plastic sits right there. And push those away with a flathead. They're a little deep, but push them away, it'll slide right up. All right, so we're gonna take this whole thing out next, this electronics basket. This connector right here is attached to the side of it. So when you take it off, you're gonna have to push it forward, and there's little tabs on the back. There's these tabs on the back. You push this one, the top 2, you're gonna push down, and the bottom one you're gonna pull up. And push forward at the same time, it'll slide off of that bracket and then just set it to the side. All right, so to get everything off of this basket, you have this here that slides into that. I already took it off, but just moving it, wiggling it, and pulling it, it should just pop out. Then you got this one in the back. It's connected like that. You just pull this tab away and it'll slide up, and then it's off. And that is all of the wiring off of this basket. Now it's just these 10 mil bolts here and there, and then that whole thing will come out. All right, I forgot to record it, but next we're gonna work on getting all this stuff off. This sits here like this. There's a pinch clip there. You pull that off. Pinch clip up there, connecting this to that. Pull that off. Down here, there's a connector right here. You pull that tab up, press it down. If it's stuck, a little flathead, push that in there to lift that tab up and slide it off. And then down here, this connects to this. A lot of people break these, so just, you know, be careful and try not to break it. You can get that part if you do break it, but I'm not trying to order anything else, so I'm being real careful. These coolant lines, they're held in right here. Just pop them out of their spot, and then you can remove this bracket. I'll probably remove it later, just to be able to move around that area more. And yeah. All right, next we're gonna go here. That's a T20 bolt that's in here. I have that removed. I'm gonna work this out, and that clips up here. Now I'm gonna put this back in that slot so I don't lose anything, because I will lose that shit. Now to get more room up here, we're gonna go and release this off of here and release this down here from this bundle of wires. There's a release tab on the back that'll let just those two connectors come up. Let's see, where is it at? Is it these two? These two things right here? I think that's, yeah. All right, now that that's off, we can come up here and release this same way. These two here, and maybe this other way. And that'll come up, and these connectors can be moved out the way. Now we got some more room to play with that stuff. Now we're gonna we're gonna take this connector off. The tab is already pulled on this, but it's kind of, I'm gonna use a screwdriver. But we're gonna pull that off, and then we'll be able to take this whole thing off this way. All right, so next, I'm gonna go ahead and this connector here, I'm gonna take that off. I already have the tab popped up. Just gonna lift it, push it off. Now that is free. Then there's an alligator clip right behind it, attaching to the manifold right here. I'm gonna lift these up. I hate alligator clips, bro. I hate alligator clips. All right, now that that's off, let's see. I'm gonna pull these out the way. So we're gonna go ahead and release these. Same deal as before on the other ones. Just this tab here. And I'll lift up this tab here. And this should lift. Should lift up. There you go. All right. Now we can swing all this wire somewhere else because it's in the way. All right. Next, I guess next is the coolant line up top. So this up here, we're gonna pop this off. I didn't drain the coolant yet, so it's gonna make a mess. But that's fine. All right, so I got the oil drained. We'll plug this up here. I haven't put it back in yet. Next, we're gonna go here, pull this off. It's 27 millimeter oil filter cap housing or whatever. We're gonna twist that off. Then we're gonna come down here and take off this coolant right there. You can see that there's a clip pulled up and then pull that off. You can see them 10 millimeter hex bolts holding the manifold in. I think this bolt here. All right, so I didn't take that coolant line off. I just took the manifold off, took those 5 bolts and just moved it to the side. Now you got full view of the oil filter housing here and the heat management module right there. All right, so next you have this coolant line here. It's connected like this. There's a retainer clip here. Pull it all the way off and it should slide right out. Next, we're gonna pull this coolant line, same deal, retainer clip, and then this one down here, same deal, retainer clip, and it should come right off. All right, so I got the coolant hoses off and retainer clips put back on, all 3 of them. This one here, and this one back here that connects to that. It's still dripping. I got a tank underneath, a drip pan underneath there. And now we're going to go into the connectors. The knock sensor. I don't know what that is. That's another knock sensor. Don't know what that is, but these connectors have to be moved out the way so I can pull the engine, the heat thing, and the gaskets on this thing. All right, so I got all these connectors disconnected here, somewhere around here, the bottom of this. Don't forget about that one. I tucked all that up out the way, and it looks like free and clear to start taking this thing and that thing. All right, so I got for the fucking oil filter thing. There's 1, 2, and underneath. Underneath, there's 3 more that are like on this side. There's 3 more attached to it. All right, so I got, oh my God, I got the fucking damn shit off. And now it's time to put the new one on. This piece here, this tube, this pipe came from the old one. This clip right here releases it from there. I went ahead and replaced the O-ring on the inside. It just didn't feel secure enough, so I put a new O-ring inside of the tube that is removed. You know, like there's a slot for it. I would have recorded it if I remember. Yeah, inside of the tube. I forgot to record it, but there's an O-ring on the inner edge, and then I got the new gaskets on the oil filter housing. That was the other thing I had to do while I was in there. And now I think it's reassembly time. All right, now we're gonna fill the oil. Make sure you put the oil drain plug back in before you fill the oil. You're filling the oil now. It's 5.75. I put the whole 5 quarts in. So I'm gonna put the last quart in. And then we're gonna prime the engine. We're gonna turn the engine over by hand until we see oil fill that passage right there. Not fill it like it's overflowing, but just come up to meet that side. All right, to turn the motor over, came in, pulled that tab out, and then have I'm using a, what is this? 1.25" ratchet. And it'll fit right on there. There's no bolt. This is gonna go around it's like a bunch of small bolts that it'll sit on. And I'm gonna turn it clockwise. All right. Got the oil filter housing back on, the new heat management module back on, and now I'm gonna put up all the connectors and everything and get the intake back on. All right, so I got all the wiring, not all the wiring, but that bundle hooked back up, that cap back on, all the coolant lines reconnected. All right, so intake manifold back on. The next step is, you know, the ECU and everything. Wires for that. It's gonna go right here. Just push all those wires to the side. Make sure all your coolant lines are hooked up. The bracket is put back on. These 5 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah. All right, so everything is back together, buttoned up. I got the coolant, both coolant reservoirs topped off with the correct coolant. I started the engine and let it run for like 10 seconds and then cut it back off. And if you listen, you can hear it cycling the coolant through. I don't have a vacuum fill tool. I just filled the reservoirs. Started the engine for like 5 seconds, cut the engine off with the heat on low, heat on high, on low fan speed. And yeah, I'll just top it off as it needs it. Checking it every, you know, drive it for 10 minutes and then check it, bring it up to temperature, check it, you know. But yeah, I just need to put the cover back on. Okay, I forgot to film my outro, but BMW's finished. Put the covers back on. I think that's where I left off. Ran it for, I think, 30 minutes, drove it around, topped the coolant back off. No leaks. That job was low-key a headache, and I know I didn't cover everything in the video, but I'm gonna link a video of like the video I looked at on a different BMW. I'm gonna put that in the description. So if I forgot anything or you get lost, you can look at that.